Just as in the last tutorial, I'll just quickly add a bacil here and assign it to a mixer channel so we have something to play. And the first thing we need to do any sequencing is time, which is done here with the time modules. We'll explore that in much greater detail later, but for now, just to keep it really simple, we just have one point generate that quarter node, or rather a point in the beginning of a quarter node interval. Again, we'll have a much deeper look at this in another tutorial. The time module won't do anything by itself. It needs to be attached to one of these big sequencing modules that can do great many things. And you do that by selecting the input here. And again, the numbers are what counts, but names are really handy, and you can store different names for different main pages and so on. So here we now have a connection to there. It already got updated. In the same way, we can give this module a name and then select that as the input for the bacil. And there we have a full chain from time to event, modulation, notation, then the instrument, and then finally audio. For it to play, we would click play there, which then plays when we click play over here. Nothing will go on before we make an event, which we do here in the step modules. We can just turn on the first step. You can either double click here or single click there. Either with velocity, you can turn it on and off by taking velocity all the way to 0. So I could, for example, just do like this and turn them all on. I'll just have one, which then just needs the duration here with the duration graph. You see the number up there is just a fraction, so it's quite simple. A 16 being a 16 node, 4 being a quarter node. So this would be a really, really short node, and this would be an infinite long node. And to do it more precisely, you can zoom here, shift as well to get whatever interval you like. I'll just pick something like a 12 node, and we're ready to go. If I click start, you start here just a clicking, which is quite obvious since we're playing the lowest MIDI note there is. Most synths won't get much out of that. I could change the note here, to the typical piano roll kind of thing like that, but I don't do that much. I usually just prefer working with the offsets. Again, the green numbers. And there, now you start hearing it. So this seems like a pretty good time to introduce VST effects, since I would like to pump that a little bit. Very simple, exactly like here you turn it on, pick a VST, and with the blue button you get the interface. And now you hear it. This one underneath is for storing and recalling VST preset, which we'll get to shortly. But yeah, there we already have a sort of steady pulse going on with this one quarter note. But you can do much more with just one quarter note. Like if I, for example, also selected it here, let me just quickly get another VST up and running and set the full chain. Then you'll see it keeps playing that one over and over, and it's not activated, and we're not really interested in another one. But with the division, I can use that again. Much more about this later. But instead of one quarter note, and I have 2 8 notes. So if I turn on the second one, get a little bit more clicking going on there. And there we're almost playing Billie Jean. So let's put a delay on that using a send instead. If you click here, the buses will open up the bus channels. So I could add a nasty delay here, for example, and just turn up the send here. I need to do something there. Just a little bit of feedback. Something. And now, then we can play around with that. I'm playing a playing a little melody with the numeric keyboard. That's quite fun. And all just with one quarter note time point. So let's build something on top of that in the next tutorial. So before we do that, let's save it, actually. And of course, all these modules being independent, they need to be saved, all of them. But there's a shortcut for that, which is called store all up here. If I click that, see all the zeros became 1 because you cannot save slot 0. If they had been 1 already or some other number, they would have been stored with that number. And the patches, because they didn't have a name, they have been named default. Again, with the presets have been named default. And this is a really easy way to get started with something. And also as you're working, since you can just quickly save a bunch of changes at the same time. Or using the red buttons here, since they are separated to only mixer, only patches, only these modules, and only time modules. So once all the modules are saved, the selection, the main page, that one that keeps track of what modules are used in what tracks and so on, that has to be stored. Again, I'll just click it here. It stores this as number 1. I could give that a name, and then that just has to be saved to disk here with the load save. And currently the project directory is inside the teleport folder or in the subfolder sets, which is fine for now. Again, I call that demo instead of default, and click save, and you see then saving set. It takes a little while and it will then show done. Now the patches, they already got stored when I clicked store all. That's a little bit different for patches, so which is why in here I can store, I can save a set to another project directory that I would then make with the operating system window that would pop up. It's quite straightforward and also described in the installation file. But yeah, let's build on top of that in the next tutorial.